Hi boys, we're going to talk about time to the quarter hour. And this I have not introduced before, so this is brand new. So let's go. Now, this is a funny term, a quarter hour. Now, if you think about that there are 4 quarters, coins in $1, I have 25 cents, 25 cents, 25 cents, 25 cents equals $1. Okay? So when you think about a dollar broken into 4 parts, each part is called a quarter. Okay? The same idea is used in time. Okay? So gotta get this a little bit higher. 4 quarters, and I put quotation marks because we're not talking about the coins anymore. We're talking about sections, okay? 4 sections equal 1 hour. When we get more into fractions, we'll talk about that when you divide something into 4 parts, it's called quarters, or 1/4 of the time. So if the clock says it's been 15 minutes, out of these 4 sections, just this top right section is filled in, and that means 15 minutes. If you break your clock into 4 sections and you color in the half on the right, it means 30 minutes. We talked about that last time. If you break your clock into 4 parts and you color in the first 3, it's been 45 minutes. And if you make a clock and it's all filled in, it means it's been 60 minutes or 1 hour. HR is an abbreviation for hour. Okay? So there's 1 section colored in here, or 1 quarter. There's 2 sections, which would be 2 quarters, or we can actually call that half. Okay? Over here, if there's 3 sections filled in, it's been 3 quarters of an hour, 3 sections of an hour. And if they're all filled in, we know it's been a full hour, 60 minutes. Okay? So kind of keep that in mind when we're using the term quarter. We are talking about the concept of it takes 4 parts to equal a whole, 4 quarters to equal $1, but we transfer that down to time as well. But when we say quarter, we're not talking about a coin anymore when we're talking about time. Okay? So that can be kind of some tricky language sometimes. So let's look at our clock. If we're going to talk about a quarter of an hour, a quarter we said was 15 minutes. Okay? So when I'm going around on my minutes, we'll count by 5s. 5, 10, 15. Well, 15 minutes is 1 quarter, or 1 section of an hour. Okay? So my minute hand is on the 3. The long one is on the 3. That means it's been 15 minutes. Now let's go find our hour. Okay, this is when it's so helpful that we have rooms that we're learning about, hour rooms. So it's just been 1 section of an hour. So I'm just going to move my hour hand over just a little bit because it's only been 1 section, or 15 minutes. But what room is my hour hand in? It's in the 7 o'clock room, right? So that helps us to know because the hour hand really is somewhere in between 7 and 8, but we know that it is in the 7 o'clock room, so we know it has to be 7 o'clock. Sorry, 7:15. 7:15. What about if we come up here to 11:15? Okay, my hour hand's just a little bit past the 11. Okay, we're going to think of that as being into 4 sections. So it's just into the first section. And my hour is what? It's 11 because it's in the 11 o'clock room. So 11:15 is our time. Okay, if I say it's, let me get that a little bit better. It's a 10:15. My hour is in the 10 o'clock room. But when I say it's a quarter past, I mean it's been 15 minutes or a section past. Okay? So sometimes you hear it, that somebody might say it's a quarter past 10 o'clock. So in your mind, you need to think, well, it's already 10 o'clock, but 1/4 or one section of the clock is 15 minutes. So what they mean is 10:15. Okay, that can be kind of some tricky language, but we're going to have a lot of practice, okay? There are going to be diagrams that show you and talk you through time to the quarter hour. And they're also going to have you fill in by looking at a clock. Okay? So we have 2 clocks. Okay, the first one says 9 o'clock. So we're going to write in 9 o'clock. Easy smeezy. Now the clock no longer says 9 o'clock because the minute hand isn't straight up to the 12 to o'clock. It is over to the 3, which means 15. So this would be 9:15. So between 9 o'clock and 9:15, 15 minutes has passed. So we're going to say it is how many minutes past 9 o'clock? I'm going to fill this in. How many minutes past 9 o'clock is it? 5, 10, 15. It's been 15 minutes past 9 o'clock. Okay? So you'll be able to practice by seeing the clocks and then filling in the numbers when we're talking about 15 minutes past or a quarter past. This is a little tricky, so it just takes a little practice. Now, when you and I or you and your family are talking, we're just going to call this 10:15. Okay? Not a whole lot of people talk about time in the quarter hour. Okay? So we're going to look and go, oh, well, the hour is 10 because it's in the 10 o'clock hour, and my minute hand is pointing to the 3, which means 15. So this is 10:15. Okay, that's how most people talk about time these days. But it is still accurate to talk about it as being 15 minutes past 9 o'clock. Okay, maybe that's a little bit more uncommon right now. Than maybe how your parents or your grandparents might describe time. So you probably won't have too much of people telling you it's a quarter past 10, but you need to know what that means, okay? So we're going to practice quarter hour to the 15-minute mark today, right? Have a good day.